Hello, hello.
So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Also, today's low here.
Does the thumbs up mean I'm... Oh, wow, loud.
The high.
How are we doing? Good? Yeah, is this... Okay. Hello. Okay, cool. Are we ready to go? Okay, perfect. Hi, guys. You're all here for the right session, yeah? We're live in the AppExchange. Now, how do we sell our app? I know, now's the time to go. Okay, so if anyone read the brief, this whole session is non-technical. It's just about sort of growing your sales on the AppExchange. I'll mostly be talking about my experience as an alliances manager with DataDwell. So yeah, it's all about how to scale with the ecosystem. Okay, so for those of you who just walked in, raise your hand if you're an ISV. How many ISVs do we have in the room? Mostly ISVs, yes. Anything else? Do we have like SI partners here? No, just ISVs? Cool, yeah. Bit of both, yeah. Little Salesforce in the background. Cool, okay. So yeah, I see some friendly faces, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Maritina. I'm the Alliances Manager at DataDwell. We have a sales enablement app on the AppExchange. Those are my contact details. A little bit of background about me. So we launched our app about 18 months ago on the AppExchange. I've been working with DataDwell for the last 2.5 years. Started off in marketing and then moved to the alliances role when it became apparent about a year ago that we needed someone to manage our relationship between ourselves and Salesforce. So does everyone understand what alliances are, what alliances does? Yes? Yeah, okay, I'm seeing more nods than not, so I'm gonna assume yes. So since embarking on this journey as Alliances Manager, I've been figuring out the best way to find the right partners, enable them with the right info, and activate them to sell our app to their clients. Okay, bit of an agenda to sort of set the stage. I'll talk a little bit about who we are. It is relevant to know what sort of app we are because you're going to have a different approach if you're a DevOps to sales enablement. I'll talk a little bit about our channels, who they are, why we choose them, what's in it for them. So why do they want to work with us? Why should they want to work with us? Then I'll sort of go through building your network. So I'll mostly talk about how I've built our network of partners, what recruiting new partners means, sort of the lessons that I've learned. So more about my experiences there. Activating the partner network. So how do you enable them with the right content? Should you schedule regular check-ins? Do you have a certification program? All that jazz. And yeah, then I'll take some questions and some key takeaways. But feel free to jump in throughout with any questions. So yeah, any questions? No? Cool. Perfect. Okay, so the classic do I know what I'm talking about slide. So a bit of background about us as a company. So DataDwell has been around since 2012. If any of you were in the room 10 minutes ago, I was talking about our co-founders being based in Iceland. So we are Icelandic born and bred. So one of our offices is in Reykjavik, but most of our sales marketing alliances is currently done out of London. We're expanding into New York, and we have a small presence in San Francisco. These are a few of our clients. Okay, so what our app does, without going into too much detail, our app focuses on increasing sales conversion rates for companies by crafting the most relevant customer journeys. So buyers are demanding more from their vendors. They want to work with people and companies that understand their needs. So sales enablement as a whole empowers salespeople to ultimately increase their sales conversion rates with better content. So successful sales enablement increases efficiency and productivity, reduces costs, reduces turnovers, and ultimately increases sales. So that's the angle that I'm coming at from all this. We have a 100% native solution. So for us, driving Salesforce adoption is a problem that we help address and solve, like many other native apps. Who here has a native app on the AppExchange? Yeah, okay, all right, a few. Anyone else connector apps? Yeah? And then outside of the platform? Anyone else? Okay, cool. All right, so why should you focus on partnerships? Right, so a bit of background for this slide. I run a monthly ISV meetup here in London. If anyone has joined it today, I'm sorry, I haven't approved any memberships yet. I've been a bit nervous about the talk. So has anyone been to the meetups? I see a few people that I've met. Yeah, cool, okay. So one question that I get a lot at the meetup is, why should we focus on partnerships? The meetup that I run is free, but seeing results from partnerships, unfortunately, is not. So as far as why we as a company focus on alliances and channels, the results that we've seen in Q1 of this year alone have surpassed the entire of last year. So the entire pipeline that I as a partnerships arm generated, and we as a partnerships team generated last year, we've already encapsulated that this year. So it's not something that happens overnight. I hate to sort of break that to the crowd, but yeah, it's not. It does take time, but there are results in it. So if you do this right sort of activity, the results do come. And I think if anyone wants to have a chat with me about that afterwards, I'm very happy to sort of expand. Conversion rates tend to be higher. So I have my lovely VP of Sales in the background, who I'm sure will happily contest the fact that the partnership leads, they are fewer and far between. Andrew, you want to? So the partnership leads that are generated from my department, they tend to be fewer and far between, but they also tend to be kind of the heavy hitters. So yes, nodding. Sorry?
Yeah. So just quickly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Maritina's obviously dealing with the partnerships within Salesforce and the ISVs, but exactly what she said, the accounts we're starting to get through from that channel are, without doubt, some of the larger opportunities we get. And again, it's really backed up with the fact we're working with Salesforce, we're much more aligned, and again with the ISVs, we're much more aligned with what they're doing. So we tend to get a much better rate of success when those sort of opportunities come in. And she does a brilliant job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Andrew. I mean, of course, it's not just me. It's a team effort to work with the channel. I haven't been responsible for it, but it's, I'd be lying if I said every single deal came through my hands. It's not that way. But yeah, the conversion rates do tend to be higher, so it sort of depends on how long you're willing to wait, I guess, and what your company's goals are. But for us, it's taken, I'd say, the best part of a year to really start to see results and scale with partnerships. So I'll sort of talk more about that later. But yeah, it's kind of my rant about quality versus quantity. It has taken a while to get here. And then, yeah, power in numbers. If you have an SI or an AE or a solution manager bringing you into a deal, your salespeople can only really have so much influence, right? I mean, they're one person, they're obviously biased because they're from your company, but if you've got multiple people, and it has happened where, I've presented to two different SIs, they've both presented us to the same customer, and that customer is now getting, from all different angles, not just from us, but from their other trusted advisors, hey, you should be talking to Datadwell. So that's pretty cool when it happens, and it does make deals more likely to close, especially, the heavy hitter ones that come in. Any questions about any of this? Yeah, no, okay, cool. Is anyone having trouble getting sort of high level or, top level like sponsorship for a partnership program? Or are you all kind of doing it already? No?
What do you mean by that?
So like, is anyone having trouble, are you trying to start an alliances program, but the C-suite are sort of like, why should we pay for this when you can't show me like immediate results? That was the question. It seems like no one's having that problem, which is great. Cool, okay, so some of the channels and partners that we work with. So SIs, these are a selection of SIs. You're gonna get varying results. If I'm honest, from SIs, it very much depends on who you speak to. What are you guys laughing at? Yeah, so it depends on who you speak to in the SI, it depends on the market that they're in. A sort of quick example from me, last year I spent about 10 months sort of chasing after UK-based SIs, and with some of them I got somewhere, with some of them I didn't. In the US, I started prospecting, and it took me about 3 months to get to the same level of progress that it took me to that took a year with UK-based SIs. So it depends on who you speak to, the market that you're in. The US is more mature as a marketplace, so the SIs are looking for differentiating ISVs to work with them. So that's my experience. Again, can't speak for everyone in general, but yeah, it depends on sort of who you're speaking to. You're also going to have different conversations with salespeople at the SIs who are going to ask, what's your average deal size? How many leads can you bring me? Versus the delivery consultants who are more interested in, how can I solve a customer problem with your app? So just be mindful to sort of tailor your pitch to whoever you speak to. Salesforce is a bit of a mixed bag. I've been doing this for about a year, and I still can't tell you all the departments. I'm still discovering new departments in Salesforce, and I see some of our friends at Salesforce in the back there. Hello. So yeah, it's in general, you're going to be speaking with solution engineers who are the techies. I apologize if this is. Does everyone understand these terms? Actually, yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll skip all that. I've had the most success with solution managers and specific account executives. However, I will say it takes longer to develop the account executive relationships. So you're not going to get as far with the AEs, at least initially. Yeah, and then other ISV partners. So kind of going back to the meetup that I run, it's I wouldn't necessarily say the purpose of the meetup isn't to get partnerships, but there are some apps that really work very nicely together, where you're not competing, but you're targeting the same people, and you get people in the company that are like, yeah, let's work together. So us, for example, we're in talks with Sales Methods, who are another sales enablement ISV, and we're running a joint event with them in July, and we're targeting enterprise accounts. That's something that Salesforce haven't had any involvement in. That's just kind of us doing it on our own. So come to the meetup. You never know who you'll meet. I think a few people in here can sort of vouch for it. It's pretty informal, and yeah, it's kind of an open environment where you can do that kind of stuff. Yeah, cool. Okay, so what's in it for them? I think I've covered some of this stuff previously, so I'll try and sort of keep it succinct. But partners will mostly work with you when there's mutual benefit, right? So kind of mentioned already that half the battle is getting the attention of the right people. And it does vary by SI. So some of them, there's no one way of doing it. In my experience, I've had more success going to the delivery consultants and sort of like the heads of design, because our solution is not necessarily going to be a huge ACV generator for them. We're not necessarily going to bring in loads of revenue because the services aren't as high initially, right? So it's a native app. It's meant to be easy for the customer to install, which is great for the end user. But when you're speaking to an SI, that's like, okay, well, how many services can I upsell for this? And sort of like, well, you can, and there are things that we've done with customers, but that's not the play. So I personally want to be speaking with SIs that understand customer success is the driving factor. And I know that that's a lot of like marketing buzzwords, but does that make sense? Sort of, right? I mean, they're not going to make a ton off of the services, at least not initially. It's a quick fix that will solve a customer problem for them, and then maybe down the line there will be services that they can upsell. But we're not like a DocuSign, for example, where you have a lot of services that are initially involved. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Co-marketing is also a big thing. So if you can, jointly talk about a customer that you've succeeded with an SI, that tends to be a pretty good way in. So we've used that a few times to sort of open the door. Otherwise, the best way to engage with SIs is just go to the alliances manager if there is one. If not, then I would go to the delivery teams. They tend to be more willing to speak with you. With AEs, especially in EMEA, white space is huge. I was sort of saying earlier, the US market is much more mature. There's less white space to be had out there. But here, if you can get involved in phase 1 of a Salesforce implementation, great. Help them get their white space accounts. You will be their best friend. And they will keep coming back to you year after year despite where their territory change. So yeah, on the back of that, I also wouldn't I wouldn't waste a lot of time trying to map out individual teams because they do. I mean, they just change every year. If you can get the org charts, then great. But yeah, there's sort of few and far between. Yeah, industry specific, right? Everyone's sort of going industry specific. We're quite a horizontal app, so we've just created industry specific slides showing the use cases. That seems to be enough. Does anybody have like vertical specific solutions? There you go. Do you really? You create your own? Oh, right, okay, cool. Didn't know that. Wonderful, yeah, I will be. I will ask you questions later. So yeah, lots of white space to be had. That's probably your biggest bet if you're going the AE route. But there's other value that you can provide as an ISV. So don't. I used to get kind of intimidated when AEs were like, "Oh, well, like, what's your average deal size?" I mean, it depends, right? If we're talking with an SMB account, it's going to be 8 to 10K. It moves up for CBU, EBU. It just depends. But my advice and what I found most helpful is just take control of the conversation again. It's not, you can offer much more as an ISV than just the ACV, right? You have relationships with those customers if you're already working with them. So use what you have and then kind of expand from there with the partners. So don't be afraid to sort of push back on that. Because there's other things that you can provide. If it's a native solution, for us, we sort of say it's a minimal sale for you, right? There's pass over the lead, refer us in, we'll keep you updated as much or as little as you want, but you basically need no additional effort to earn money. Like we'll do the bulk of the work for you. So just don't be intimidated by just the number. There's more that you can offer than that. Okay. Cool. So building your network is incredibly important. There is a balance to be struck between recruiting new partners and nurturing existing ones. This was my big problem last year, I think. I sort of took the approach of, let me just try and meet everyone, which is great. I mean, I love talking to people. It wasn't clearly apparent by my ability to talk to myself for 25 minutes. But yeah, there's something to be said for nurturing one-on-one relationships, and that's something I'm focusing on much more this year. Year one, last year, was building it up, meeting new people, awareness of our app, all that. This year is, okay, how can we drive results? And I mentioned earlier, we've already seen the impact of that. So to me, what our results say is, great job, year one was good. You built some sort of awareness, but year two, now that you sort of need to hit targets and show the value of partnerships, we're able to do that. So don't be afraid of building new just building new relationships, but know when's the right time to pull back, and don't say yes to everything. Don't be afraid to sort of say, yeah, this is potentially a great partnership, but now it's not really the right time. And if you follow through on that, then your reputation does matter, and it does carry on. And it's a small ecosystem, guys. Like it's really small. People talk. Word does get around about who follows through and who doesn't. So yeah. Any questions on any of this? Okay, cool. Where to meet partners? All right. Well, events like this one. This event for me has basically become a big networking. Experiment, I suppose. There's the world tours. There's plenty of places to meet people. Just get involved. Just go to them, really. Once you meet people face to face, then they'll start opening doors for you and make connections. And if you attend the community events, just showing up is, it's the advice that I got early on, and I have to say it's true. It does. I've only been doing this for about a year, and I'm not, I have no other experience in other ecosystems. Like I don't know what Microsoft is like, but with Salesforce, it's been. Yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot in the last year. This year, I feel like I know what I'm doing. So a lot can change in 12 months. Do get into the Salesforce Tower as much as you can. That is good advice, but just make sure that you follow up and follow through on what you say that you're going to do. And streamline your onboarding process. Good, thanks, Louise. So make it easy for partners to get on board and to work with you. So whether that's adding them into a quick document, make your life as easy as possible, but also work in the ways that your partners can. So whether that's email or a Slack channel, we found a lot of success with SIs in the States with Slack. So we've got a few that have added us into their workspace, and it just makes it a lot easier to communicate. And get comfortable showing your app. Be prepared to demo, even if you're non-technical like me. Just know how to show your app on the fly. You're not always going to have the blessing of a technical engineer behind you. So our marketing team has created a visual like this, which quickly kind of shows what we do, where the content lives, how you can share it out, what it looks like in Salesforce. So I use this most conversations. So yeah, have a backup option. These are some examples of content. I'm sort of getting to the end of the slides here. So these are examples of like customer success slides. This is really all you need. You don't need anything fancy. Talk about the challenge, talk about the solution, share the results. That's it. You know what I mean? You don't need anything more complex than that. So it's more important to be able to talk about it than it is to create stuff like this. We got really tripped up, I think, in the first year trying to create the right collateral, like, it had to be perfect and marketing made and all that. And this is marketing made, but you can see it takes sort of minimal effort there. So yeah, again, tailor it to your audience. So this was a white space account that we helped win. Great, that's the main point that I want to get across is, hey, AE, work with us because we've helped win white space. Same thing with this one. This wasn't a big ACV account for us, but it's cool, right? How many people can say they work with Premier League football clubs? We can. So, we can't say the name of the person, but that's literally all you need. These are just here as examples. I was often asked for slides, and I didn't really know what to produce. So there you go. And make it easy for the SIs and the A's to understand where you fit. This slide has been a lifesaver. We created this about 6 months ago. Not a day goes by that I don't send this out to someone. So yeah, showing where you fit, where you overlap, where you connect, that's half the battle. The A's are inundated with so many different products. Unless you can easily kind of pinpoint where you are, it's worthwhile to make something like this.
That's for Salesforce SE?
This is I share this with everyone. Salesforce SEs, SIs, like the deliver consultants really like to know where it fits. AEs-ish, they mostly share it with their clients, really, if I'm honest. I'm not sure how many of them actually look at it. Actually, I do know how many, they don't really look at it. God, I can track that with my tool, so. I don't know why I'm being coy about that, but yeah.
We also share this with end user customers as well, because everyone says, what's the new and hard?
Yeah.
So this gives a great representation of what else they're using and where they fit in.
So basically you're telling the three first categories you're not fitting to.
No, because that's more about like the beginning stages of generating leads and we fit in after that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
The first three you're not fit in, right? That's the meaning.
Cool. Okay, and just to wrap up, sorry guys, I think we've only got 2 more minutes? I see Callum waiting in the back for setup. So yeah, key takeaways, build your network, but find the right balance. Focus your efforts and follow-ups. Don't try to do everything. I'm a team of one officially. Thankfully, I have a great team behind me that support me and fly the flag when I can't or don't have the time and effort, but be focused on what you do. Otherwise, you're just going to sort of fail. Empower and activate your partners. Make sure they have what they need when they need it. And yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, but it is worth it. Okay, wonderful. Did I make it? Thank you. Great. Any questions? Can I do have a question actually for you guys. Do you mind if I take a picture for social media? Some people are. If you don't want to be in it, just duck. But no, you laugh. It's like a serious thing. People don't want their privacy infringed on. Hello. Oh, wonderful. Happy smiling faces. Okay, cool. Wonderful. Ollie will be happy with me. Okay, cool. I think that's it. If anyone wants any more detail, feel free call me, text me, email me. I'm all ears. Or come to the meetup next week. It's March 13th. It's Wednesday, just before the boxing. If you just search Salesforce ISV meetup, it will pop up. It's the first thing on Google. Yeah. Cheers. Thanks, Andrew. So helpful. Okay. Cool. Am I good? Yeah. No. All right. Perfect. Thanks, guys.